Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for getting started a little bit late. Some technical difficulties that I think we've overcome. So I wanted to start today with a quick story. Once upon a time, there was a merchant who lived in Philadelphia. This was back in the 1800s, and this merchant was widely credited with starting the first department store, which is kind of a precursor to a mall. And this merchant's name was John Wanamaker, who is widely credited with a quote that we still use today. He said, "Half the money I spend in advertising is wasted. I just don't know which half." Now, the problem 100 years ago was that there was very little data to be checking out what was working and what was not. The problem today, and over the last 20 years, has been near infinite data that's out there that we are all trying to process and make sense of how we make better ads that ultimately drive the outcomes that our clients want. My name is Scott Simony. I work here at Databricks, and I lead our ad tech business. And ad tech is one of our largest and fastest growing segments at the company. And it's not it shouldn't be a surprise because there is just so much data that all of you in the audience are looking to harness and turn into some real insights and drive business results. Today, we're going to be joined by a couple of different sessions inside this 40-minute session. I'm going to have a panel of esteemed colleagues come up here in a couple of minutes, and we're going to talk through some of the challenges and opportunities that they're facing on the platform. But before we do that, I want to welcome my friend Atul Saurabh, who is the Global Director of Product at MIQ, to walk through a demo of what they're building, and I will let you take it away, Atul.
Am I audible? Am I audible? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Really exciting for me to stand here and present in front of like some of the sharpest and brightest minds in our advertising and technology industry. I'm really excited to present some of the new product innovation that we've been working at MIQ over the last few years to help us take a big leap in this era of fragmentation and proliferation as we continue to grow and as the digital media landscape continues to evolve. But before I go into like the product and demos, I do want to just quickly walk you through what MIQ does and why did we build this product in the first place. So we are MIQ, and we've been in the programmatic business for the last 15 years. We started as a performance-based managing partner, like programmatic media partner. And then as the digital media landscape continued to evolve, we've evolved our business into trading CTV campaigns. Oh, wow. Wow. Sorry, guys. This is my laptop, and there's going to be some issues. There may be some issues with the Wi-Fi, by the way. That's what we were dealing with before we started the session. But yeah, we've been in the business. We continue to evolve as the digital media landscape has been evolving. And we've grown into CTV, YouTube, social, and now also taking care of verticals like political, healthcare, and gaming. So whilst we've been doing this, in order for us to be able to add value for our clients, we've really had to partner with a lot of vendors and now our partners in this ecosystem. And that means like we've had to get their data sets into our ecosystem to plan our campaigns better, gotten integrated with a lot of DSPs to be able to activate on these campaigns, and then also partner with measurement companies to be able to report on KPIs that our clients want to see. And this has been a bit of a challenge as we've been growing. Now we have grown into 28 global offices. We have 1,300 plus employees. And the challenge for someone like me in the product team is how do we create something that is extensible, that is scalable across all regions for all kinds of channels that we want to go into in the future. And that's why we built something that we start calling MIQ Sigma. This is the product that I'm going to demo today. But before I go into the product, I want you all to hear about the why of building this product from 3 perspectives: unifying our data vendors and partners that you saw, a sample of that was there on the slide; unifying a consumer view for our marketers across what they're watching, what they're browsing, and what they're buying; and then also trying to create a connected and a transparent workflow for our clients who can see how the campaigns are planned, how they're activated upon, and they can access the reports in a self-serve capacity when they come to MIQ. So all those partners that you saw, we've connected them through Sigma, irrespective of what kind of formats they share their data in, irrespective of the velocity in which the data comes into MIQ. We use these data sets to help us plan across any audience, activate across any unique supply path that's available, and then also report back on the KPIs that our clients want to see. So this is the first perspective of like, why did we want to unify things more from a partnerships perspective. And then from a marketer's perspective, every marketer wants to see what their consumers are watching, browsing, and buying. And using our partnerships with our TV partners, with our SSP and DSP partners, and also commerce partners, we've been able to create a unified view for a marketer to be able to see what their consumers really do. And then last but not the least, to be able to really establish a connected workflow, we started working on this flywheel of we need to plan campaigns, we need to push them into our audiences, plan creatives, run campaigns, and then report back to our clients, and this all needs to be connected. Now, for this, we came up with a vision, which was like really bold and ambitious, a unified experience for world-class programmatic across any platform, channel, or KPI. Now, for someone who's in a product capacity and who knows that this job is not easy with the amount of fragmentation we have across different partnerships, the first thing that came into our minds was we need to re-architect our backend and create data and re-architect in a way that we can harmonize data sets across different formats and velocities that are coming in through our different partners, but also create something that is extensible enough. And an example of that is someone from Australia in MIQ would call me and say, hey, we want to get into social product. We want to start selling social campaigns. Can we extend our offering that we have in US to Australia? Someone in US would come to me and say, we are partnering with a completely different data vendor in the US. Can you also ingest that data and have it flow through our whole ecosystem? And that's a challenge. And that's why we wanted to really build a solid backend in order for us to really scale this technology. And that's where our partners, Databricks, come in. They really helped us build this new architecture on top of all the data partners that we have, all the integrations that we have across DSPs, and pivoted in a way that could allow us to really release a product that is faster, more reliable, and extensible. Now, I'm going to go into the demo very quickly, but before I go into it, there are two parts of the demo. The first part of the demo is how a marketer can come to this platform, plan their campaigns, push their segments into DSPs. And then the second part of the demo is going to talk about how we're using some of the agentic AI features that are based on top of Databricks features, right? So let's get in the demo and hopefully see the Wi-Fi work. So here's the platform. You see intelligence, audience, creatives, campaigns together. It's not just in the UI. I'll also give you an example of how we've unified these together. And then streaming all the buying, watching, and browsing data on the homepage for me. For a marketer who comes in, can go into intelligence. They can see TV, context, and commerce, which is the watching, browsing, buying story that I've been talking about. In this case, I'll take an example of TV, use case where a pet care client, Freshpet, is wanting to look at how they can advertise across social total video. So they have linear, OTT, and YouTube insights. They can come in, they can see what is happening with their competitors, what's really working for them from ads perspective. And this is a really cool place where they can see how their reach and frequency has been across different audiences that they have reached. And the fun part is they've spent like close to 60% of ads for top 20% users. And that's why I'm creating a strategy to target underexposed users directly from this. And it'll be pushed to our audience section that I'll come back to when I go into audience, and I'll show you how we activate upon. Now they can continue to browse across different sites. This is our latest addition where we've added YouTube into the mix of linear and OTT. So anyone can come and plan across all these three platforms. And the coolest part is you can compare it with your competitors. And you see what your competitors are doing on YouTube. You can learn from them, what kind of formats, what kind of ad lengths they're running, activate upon them. You can also look at their reach and frequency and probably build a conquesting strategy to target their underexposed users for your brand. I'm going to go into the audience and show you how I can find this segment that I just built here using insights and push them into DSPs. So you see some of the overexposed, underexposed segments here. They're already present in the audience section. I come here, I add them, I push them into our automated campaign setup templates, and this will directly go into Xandr, and that's how the segments will get activated. Now, I'm going to come back to this part a bit more, but there's a Gen AI persona generator which also gives a view of who the audience is before you start planning your campaign. So I'll come back to this in the second half of the demo, but what I really want to do is quickly summarize how Databricks have helped us build what you saw. So the intelligence platform that you saw has been built on top of like multiple jobs. There, for everyone who's on the product tech side here and has worked on data engineering side, they know we do like a lot of batch processing before of big data before we really build these kind of dashboards. So um, earlier, before we start partnering with Databricks, we had all of this based on a map-reduced compute stack. I won't name the vendor, but I think every person would know who I'm talking about. And then we moved into Databricks serverless, and that helps us immediately reduce the processing time from 12 to 5 hours, which is massive. But this is not just it. There's more on top of this, and you'll see. Of course, because of the reduced time, we had reduced costs. And in this industry, as Scott was mentioning, the data continues to grow. The brands in our intelligence platforms continue to grow, and the data became really huge. The order of data here is, at a daily level in tens of terabytes, and at a monthly level, like in petabytes. And then last but not the least, you saw the dashboards loading pretty quickly. Again, all of that is using Databricks technology, serverless, Unity catalog. And then I also want to call out, some of our partners in the team, Josh, Dan, Wasco. They've really been great consultants, help us transform this tool to where it is today. I'll come back to the second part of the demo. We'll start with where we left. So here's the audience part where you can look at more segments, not just the segments that I push from intelligence, but you can learn from this, set up your campaign. And here's a trading agent that we built, which helps you manage these campaigns. So I'm asking it, which of the Freshpet campaigns have I set up? And it's going to come back to me and tell me, what are the campaigns that are live today across all the DSPs that we're using. And we have 12 DSP integrations at this point in time. And within 12 DSPs, we have 30 plus seats integrated. I'm also asking it more about read more things about how is it pacing. And it's going to give me an information about how the campaigns are pacing. I can also write back. The write back integration is also there. So I'm asking it, can I change the pacing? Although it's not going to allow me to change because I'm a product person, and it's only allowed for traders to go and change things. But it gave me a logic of why changing pacing is not right at this point in time. This example is very much for your commercial teams, where we've used the Genie feature of Databricks. We've created like a big data cube of historical data sets for sellers to come and query about like different kinds of formats, different kinds of channels. Here I'm trying to search about CTR sort of benchmarks for pet care clients in Canada. And this is all based on historical data. This is using the Genie APIs, and any commercial person can come write natural language query here, can fetch data sets, query, and get the answers out of it. So this is completely built out of AI BI Genie. And then lastly, I just want to say, as we continue to grow, our tech stack on top of Databricks, we are continuing to build more on top of AI BI Genie. And then in the future, we want to use what we saw earlier today in the keynote, like lake-based and more agentic operational features within Databricks to be able to evolve not just trading agent, but we also have ambitions to build like a sales agent, a service agent within the company, and to create a solid architecture around it. So that's what it is. If anyone really wants to get a real demo of this tool online, please scan the QR code, and I'd be happy to assist you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atul. Awesome job. All righty, I want to ask my esteemed panelists to come up here. Kayvon, Abhi, and Anj, please join me on stage. We'll get set up here for the panel. All righty. Welcome to the second part of our session today. Please take a seat. I want to introduce you to this panel. I'm going to have every one of these folks actually introduce themselves, starting here. Go ahead, Abhi.
Hey everyone, my name is Abhishek Yadav, BB Engineering at LG Ads. LG Ads is a global CTV company with access to 200 million plus screens globally from LG Electronics.
Hi, I'm yamsani. I lead product and development at Influential. We're an influencer marketing software company. We recently got acquired by Publicis. We'll talk more about what it is, and some of you may not know that stuff, so we'll go through that.
Cool. Thanks. Hey, I'm Kayvon Raphael. I lead our core platform data engineering group at Magnite. Magnite has a programmatic video advertising platform as well as a large display SSP. We service both buy and sell side clients across CTV, online video, display, and audio. If you're wondering what that actually means, it means we help power the ads you see anywhere from the apps on your phone to the website you visit for news, to the billboard you see while driving to the airport, to on the airplane itself, to while you're listening to Spotify, to while you're streaming video at home on your couch. We currently reach about 99% of US streaming supply. And every day across all those formats I mentioned, we currently run about 2 trillion with a T auctions and serve a couple billion impressions. So that's idea of our data scale.
Thank you. I mean, these are three big companies doing a lot of big data processing. Let's kick us off actually with a question for all three panelists. You guys are all at different stages of business, different stages of your journey. Talk a little bit more about what either happened on the business side or on the technical side that made you decide to move to Databricks in the first place.
So actually, this is my second Databricks migration. You can imagine I'm a firm believer of the platform. Yeah. I'll start with this. How many of us have had calls or a nasty Slack message or an email about someone not getting the report on time, or their jobs are failing, or someone isn't able to get a complete data set, right? I think that's where we were when we started this journey less than a year ago. And I think at this point, we feel very comfortable within our scope of migration that we've achieved, as well as the business opportunities we've unlocked. We've got anecdotes coming in from our business partners where, hey, this job ran for 72 hours and I had to run a software on the computer so it doesn't fail because we're running on-prem. There's a lot of restrictions. To now, hey, this finishes in 8.5 minutes, and they're counting every second of extra time that they have now. That's on the business side. On the technical side, we focus heavily on the architecture. We're global. We have a massive scale, and it opens up to a lot of responsibilities, both from a consumer as well as compliance side. We focus on frameworks. We focus on standardization, and that is the only way we're going to scale. We want to get to a point where we don't have stability problems. We're able to scale across globally, and we're able to do this to facilitate the growth of our business, as well as follow the compliance and regulatory laws that come in with all these things that we try to focus on from a business side. The medallion architecture has been great for us. We're able to, using Databricks platform, we're able to consolidate all of our data into a common platform. We're able to build frameworks that help us accelerate the onboarding of data. So when we go make a new partnership with a DSP or we go enable an SSP, there's the first thing comes in mind is, okay, how is this data going to be here, right? And if it's going to take us 2 months to onboard that data, that isn't really helpful, right? So with Databricks, we're able to onboard all this data. We're able to apply custom transformations. We're able to leverage the different variations of compute that allow us to do things for different sizes. And as this data gets matured, we utilize Unity Catalog heavily to make sure the right people have the access to the right data. Since we're global, we can apply localization techniques. We can adhere to GDPR, PIA, all kinds of compliance rules, whether it is for a company specific or domain specific, or something that is pushed by our parent company, LG, which is similar global scale and have a lot of hardware things that need to keep in mind. And once this data goes through the process, we put it in a very clean staging layer where now you can have reports being built off of it. You can build segments, you can build audiences, start pushing it into our own ad stack or a third-party ad stack, and then eventually get to a point where we can run machine learning or data science and have all this data ready into AI agents that we're sort of encompassing within our ecosystem. So we're very happy with the journey so far. We get very good feedback from our business partners, and now we're going to facilitate this to take this to our customers. So we're able to partner with them and use the Databricks platform, whether it's clean rooms or whether it's doing integrations or creating agents, which we'll mutually benefit from.
Thanks for your trust a second time. Anj, tell us more about your journey at Publicis Influential.
Right. And on the background on influencer marketing, I mean, how many of you know Mr. Beast? Or maybe your kids now, right? So he's the #1 influencer. And what's happening in the market is that the traditional ads are not performing well, and you cannot scale them with so many varieties. The creators are authentic, and they're producing this original content, and the ads that we create through the creators are performing 2x to 3x than the traditional ads. And that's where media companies like Publicis now started allocating higher budgets towards the influencer marketing. Just like how it went through CTV, it went through digital out of home. Now it's a time for influencer marketing. With that, influential, the company was on the rocket ship, right? So we were growing very fast. But our technology, we were having, I don't want to name, but we were having technical difficulties like just get our simple ML jobs working, partly because we were only 4-member team, right? And we didn't have like DevOps access and all that. So just less than a year, and 2 weeks after the last data summit, we signed up with the Databricks. And within 6 months, with the 4-member team, we were able to build industry's largest AI search database with the multi-billion vectors for influencers in a marketing software. And the team is very they helped us, hand-holded us through the Slack, through everywhere. And the platform, our team calls Databricks is our invisible team member with the superpowers, right? And it's become very easy for us. We had very difficult challenges with others, right? So especially we took care of we leveraged the Unity Catalog ML flow primarily because we run a lot of machine learning algorithms to enrich the creator profiles, right? We see some text on the post, so we know, okay, they're talking about organic food. They're talking about cats. They're talking about babies, stuff like that. And that's very important for finding the good, suitable creator, right? So that's where we help brands to find the suitable creator who can give 3x, 4x, what. And so that software is, industry's largest, and it only happened primarily because of, Databricks help.
Thank you, Anj. Feels good to be part of your team. So thanks for including us. Kayvon, tell us more about your journey at Magnite.
Yeah, we ended up on Databricks in the beginning a little bit out of necessity. We inherited a legacy pipeline and kind of disjointed data ecosystem in that world, and we needed to rebuild it. We had a crew of people who knew Spark. That's what they were great at, and we turned to Databricks. We re-implemented the pipeline in Databricks. As Anj also said, great crew. Shout out to our Databricks account team and all our SAs and everyone. They were killer in working with us as we pushed the limits of Spark streaming. Very fun nights. Thank you, Satish. We then, as we started building our foundational pipeline, we moved further down the data platform in Databricks to warehousing, so moving off of a legacy reporting product into Databricks' SQL warehousing to power client-facing reporting. We then opened up giving our internal tech ops teams and account managers and things like that direct SQL access to the data that they use to make their decisions and troubleshoot, keep our clients happy. We brought our data science crew onto the platform, which was amazing. They're like, oh, I can spin up a Spark cluster and access all our log level data and just type something out and get an answer. Fantastic. Great. Started moving them in. Everyone's happy. We're continuing from there to build a fuller data platform picture. As I mentioned, we have a lot of data. One of our platforms itself generates about 3.5 terabytes of data each hour for log level data. So we're working on moving that to Iceberg, leveraging Databricks' up and coming Iceberg functionality to get that efficient cost optimized, queryable, usable. So we started from like a very foundational place of necessity and slowly expanded to leverage all the capabilities of an end-to-end data platform. And obviously all the things that come along with that, like the governance, the quality, the access controls, things like that. Very excited to move to the step of incorporating that in the broader ecosystem and using some of the openness and interconnectedness and data sharing that I think we'll touch on a little later.
Awesome. Thanks, Kayvon. So let me actually start with an individual question, and I'm going to start with you, Abhi. You mentioned at the end of your introduction a lot more work going on the data science side, things that were echoed by Anj and by Kayvon as well. Talk to us about some specific examples of how you guys are using AI, machine learning, maybe even actually into the agentic side, how that's playing a role in what you guys are doing with customers and helping them.
Of course. But I'll go back to the architecture that I talked about earlier. We focus heavily on building scalable architectures and having the right components in that architecture. We're doubling down on our AI agentic program. We're gonna use a lot of large language models that are able to plan and reason. And with the evolution of newer protocols and knowledge graphs, these models are going to have access to information that is contextually relevant to the user. It is going to have memory to store interactions, and it's going to have access to large amounts of vector databases to fetch information and act as RAGs. And we're incorporating the MCP protocol that's allowing the LLM to do things that historically hasn't been. Historically, LLMs you give it a prompt, you ask it to type an email, and then it kind of ends it there. But with these newer protocols, we're able to take that to a next level and apply actions to it. But it's fetching data, applying PII, transporting it to a PDF and stuff like that. And we're going to take this architecture and apply it both internally as well as externally for our customers. Our internal goal for this year, which we only have 6 months left, is to have 40 live AI agents within the ecosystem doing different tasks that are focusing on operational efficiencies, along with propagating the media planning, forecasting, feasibility, and once you get a media plan, then get on the delivery side. And as we're delivering media, how do we optimize it mid-flight? And when things are optimized and delivered, then how do we close the loop with reporting and show our customer value? And that's where the customer side of it comes. If we can build AI agents that are real-time, giving our customer insight into all the great work that we've been doing for them, then it helps them, it helps us gain their trust, as well as helps them spend more money with us. And if we can do this in a very fast, iterative way, then they can spend that money with us even faster. So that's kind of how we're thinking of leveraging AI to kind of propagate our business, generate more revenue, keep our customers happy, and do that over and over.
As a former TV buyer, I want to say thank you, because a lot of the tools that unfortunately a lot of the buy side uses right now to get insights from publisher side or supply side is just not adequate.
It takes forever.
It takes forever, and it's very rigid, right? So
it doesn't match half the time.
Let's keep on talking about it, right? Kayvon, I want to switch over to you. Kayvon, you mentioned something at the end of your introduction, a lot more about direct access to logs and audience information. Talk to us more about how Magnite's thinking about exposing that and kind of making that more useful for your customers.
Yeah, I would be happy to. So this is something I touched on just at the end of my previous statement of looking forward to the future of expanding with integrations and other partners and really leveraging Databricks as a platform that connects. Abhi also touched on this. We're now starting to explore and plan direct integrations with our partners and our clients to bring audience data, so segment data about people available out there to serve ads to, directly onto our platform and activate that. In current situation, to do that, you have to sometimes send data through intermediaries, third parties. You're exporting a puddle of data to an S3 bucket for someone. You're sending that back out to them. You're there, sending all these different wires, different routes. The advantage of being able to leverage something like direct data sharing or clean rooms through Databricks is it brings a lot of that down to zero. You get increased data governance, for example. So if Avi's gonna onboard his audience data segments onto our platform, he can do it directly through that connection, maintaining governance of it, knowing who's seeing the data and where it is, instead of sending some data out to somewhere and maybe something happens to it along the way, or you're not fully in control of it, which is great. Same for us sending that data back, those exposure logs back out to them. We know we have control over the data we're sending out directly to them, and also cutting out a lot of that time in that cycle. So you have it directly through a platform instead of, again, waiting for an export, checking a bucket, downloading it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's something that we're really excited about actively planning and implementing with partners and clients via Databricks as we all get to that place.
Thanks, Kayvon. It's exciting. Looking forward to helping support you guys get that in place in the coming weeks. Anj, your company at Influential has come through a lot over the last year with a small and mighty team. How do you guys figure out a way to organize the world of influencer marketing, which is inevitably a very large problem of how to connect the right brands with the right kind of influencers? How do you do that? How do you use a platform like ours to help?
So I look at this as like two pieces. One is finding the right creator. And the second part is that in your demo, you had like Freshbet Social, right? So those are the type of campaigns we execute. The execution is second, like analytics of those campaigns and performance prediction. So in case of searching for a right creator, what we do is that we make around 50 million API calls into the networks through API integration. We get up all of that data, and Databricks helps us to analyze that data, run through ML models, and categorize them, contextualize them, vectorize them, embed them, and putting into AI vector database. And with that, now I can go into the vector database and I'm looking for a creator who lives in Texas and who is in like 30 to 40 age and who has 2 kids or maybe kids more, right? And I'm trying to sell like baby products. And so with this, I'm able to pick the right creators and display them using all the ML flow and the stuff that you have. The second part is the analytics. Now that we have connected to the network, we need to get all the metrics back and see how it's working and change, right? If we need to send it to LG or send it to somebody else, we need to decide based on the performance that campaign is going on. And that is time sensitive. And Databricks helps us to scale, right? If you need to scale up like 20 instances, whatever, to process it, right? And that's been very handy for us with the very little DevOps. Now we can process on demand as much data we want. And it's been, incredible. And we're looking forward to already like a lot of the LLMs are integrated. We call LLMs through the Databricks environment. A lot of the AI stuff is implemented at every step. In the first phase, one of the things that we don't notice is that brand safety is very important for us. We bring the creator, but what if they posted some pictures that are like smoking or alcohol or something? So we have to mine through all of their posts and images to validate that the creator is safe. So Databricks platform, all these operations help us to do that job.
Love it, Anj. Thank you. We're going to have time for maybe 2 questions at the end. So I just want to encourage you guys to start thinking about that. We've got a microphone over here on the left side looking at the stage. Question I want to ask all of you, and I'll ask actually Kayvon to start first. Talk to me, Kayvon, about some of, if you could wave a magic wand, right? If you could solve some data issue in the ad space, it's hurting your ability to do something. What is actually that one thing you'd love to be able to solve for?
Just one.
Only one. We only have time for one.
I mean, there's a lot of challenges that come with data at our scale. I think one of the like core fundamental ones that is trickier to solve is data quality. I think that is the one I would pick. Like sanitizing, normalizing your data. My brother, who also works in data engineering, likes to quote a computer science tenet of garbage in, garbage out, which I firmly believe in, and that is a very hard problem to solve, especially when you have a lot of different data streams coming in, different data pipelines. Even when leveraging shared libraries, components, logic to do that, it's still a hard job to make sure you do right, and that is the starting point of everything else downstream. So if you don't do that right, then the data you're giving to clients, to your internal people, to the pacing application that determines how much money you should spend, etc., the audience people, like all of that will be wrong. So that is what I would pick.
Awesome. Same question to you.
So right now, the influencer marketing is not as standard as the regular ad business. In the mixed model marketing, like we want to make sure that we can predict and model and create the streamless pipeline integrated into the regular ad tech, the influencer ads program. So that's what I want to do if I have a magic wand. There are a lot of benchmarks. Every company has its own benchmarks, and I want to standardize and see that, okay, we can all agree if a creator is performing well or not. So we'll see in 2-3 years.
Awesome. And then, Abhi, tell us what's the one thing keeping you up at night? What's the one data problem you could solve in the ad space? What would you do?
I have a short answer and a long answer. I'll save the long answer for the happy hour. My short answer is standardization across the industry. All of us kind of sort of, in certain ways, whether it's smaller magnitude or larger magnitude, suffer from similar problems, whether it's interfacing systems, joining data, commingling data, and then taking it out in our worlds, or creating agents that we can all rely on to do certain things collaboratively, whether it is one organization owning it or us collectively owning it. So I think there's a lot of work we can do, and it would free up tons of our times so we can focus on revenue generating things and not have to grind through these problems that can sort of keep us up and aren't really hard to solve, but it's just there's a lack of things being able to talk to each other because of standardization.
Thank you for the questions.
Thank you.
Just to pull it all together, I want to say thank you to these panelists for joining me on stage today. I want to say something that I think I heard from them, as well as actually another important client who said something to me today, like, there's so much on our platform that not everyone's actually always aware. But I feel like as you are solving different data problems, if you have not asked your account manager, if you've not asked Databricks to take a look at it with you and ask for some help, please do. We've actually got new products, new features, new tools that are being created every single day. And it's our responsibility to come to you and actually make sure you're aware of those. But if you're not, please don't be shy. We'd love to actually help you guys grow your business. Thank you to these three folks and Atul. Have a great rest of your summit.
Thank you.
Thank you.